Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kaizen Spotlight, where we try and have these very interesting, insightful conversation with true Kaizen champions. And it's my absolute pleasure to introduce and to have with us today um, a gentleman, who I have personally known for almost 25 years and is a very interesting personality. So, welcome, Akshay San. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you, Jay and Son. Good to be here with you in the Kaizen Institute Spotlight.
Thank you very much. So, the Kaizen Spotlight, sir, is small conversations that we have with very interesting and personalities like yourself. Essentially, we pick up Kaizen champions, people who believe in excellence, who have really lived and promoted excellence. And it's a 15-minute kind of 12 to 15 minutes conversation. As you know, people's attention spans have really, been compromised. So I don't think anybody likes to listen or see something more than 10, 12 minutes. Even that is a little longer. It's my pleasure to introduce Akshay Shan. And how do I start this? But it is my duty to first introduce the gentleman who's under the spotlight today. So Akshay Shah is based in Kenya. He is an East African and African, in his heart. He had his early education in Tanzania, and then, of course, studied in the U.S. And the way he likes to sort of describe himself is a lifelong learner. I think that's a very significant and interesting way to describe. And I have known him for 25 years, and I can confirm that. I can vouch for it. He's When I think of Akshay, I think of IT, computers, technology, because he's been very passionate about technology right from when technology was really not so big. He comes from a family which started off in manufacturing many decades ago. So initial career was in supporting his family business in plastic manufacturing, plastic processing, and then he took on Sil Africa, which he has taken to great heights now, with operations in multiple African countries, and he's really taken off South Africa into a completely new tangent, and and he brings a lot of strategic thinking, mergers and acquisition. That's the area that he's focused now, because the operations, day-to-day operations, are driven by an excellent team that he sort of leads. He's also very very closely involved with the entrepreneurship, supporting young startups, guiding them, helping them, being a mentor. And he also sits on the board of the YPO in Kenya. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
And he's been very active with the EO, which is the Entrepreneurship Organization. So a phenomenal package, a man bursting with idea, bursting with energy, and a great believer in entrepreneurship. It's an absolute pleasure to have you, sir. And I'm going to start off with the first question, if I say so. You have understood Kaizen, you have applied Kaizen. What about continual improvement, about Kaizen, really appeals to you at a personal level? Now, that's my first sort of question to you.
I think on a day-to-day basis, it's because I get bored easily. So if I'm doing the same thing every day, I'm probably not going to keep doing it. So continual improvement actually gives me a reason to stay engaged, keep thinking about what next, because status quo is really, I would, it's very boring.
Sure.
Beyond that sort of daily motivation to commit to continual improvement, there's also another cycle, which is probably about a 5 to 7 year cycle that I have found, myself experiencing, which is that we, because of the roles that we take on, we tend to evolve into a new role every 5 to 7 years. So when I started working at South Africa, which used to be called Simba Plastics in Tanzania, I remember initially a lot of my time was spent on the Bimba. just making sure that daily improvements are happening, the way material is flowing, the way information is flowing. Then I started getting involved in the manufacturing technology, visiting the mold makers and the machine suppliers, and that was a different type of evolution and a different type of Gemba.
Yeah.
After some time, it moved on to strategy, and that became now my Gemba became strategy. And after that, it became expansion into the region. So I think every 5 to 7 years, I also see that as a continual improvement as well, which again helps you to stay engaged.
Fantastic. So I think the key point here is if you're not thinking about continual improvement, you always run the risk of getting bored with what you're doing. It brings a lot of excitement, possibilities. Now, just shifting gears and moving on to your own tryst with Kaizen from a professional, from an organizational perspective. Can you quickly recollect how did sort of Sil Africa adopt it, get into this journey, and what has been the journey of operational excellence? How does it look at Sil Africa?
Yeah, so I mean, I still remember our first meeting in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I was a very young person then, and so were you. And you had come over to give us some training on Kaizen. And one thing that I will never forget is you were telling us that when we were cleaning a machine, and we used to have machines that would be dripping oil all the time. You're actually not cleaning the machine. It's a form of maintenance because you're trying to look for maybe root causes and cracks, sounds and vibrations. And such a small, simple act of cleaning a machine would end up being able to take care of a machine that could be worth hundreds or millions of dollars, but by a simple act. And to me, that was really the essence of Kaizen that I would have learned from you, that it's more about the intention of committing to small things every single day that ultimately gives us a big outcome. And that was my first from you.
So you remember that very well. So what has been the Sil Africa's experience with operational excellence? I mean, I know that you insist or you sort of promote this very strongly. Can you give us some insights? How do you have a formal structure to drive operational excellence? How do you? I know you use the keys approach. Some light on this, please.
Yeah, so over the years, now it's 28 years that I've been involved in the manufacturing business. One challenge that we found is, somebody comes up and says, all right, our first journey was Kaizen, right? Or at some point it was called Gemba Kaizen. Then after some time, somebody else comes and says, oh, Six Sigma, that's the way to go. Then somebody comes and says, lean excellence is the way to go. Then TPS, Toyota Production System, is the way to go. Then 20 keys is the way to go. So every time we would change the channel, we would backslide. And ultimately, it was never a Sil Africa culture, a Sil Africa system. It was always, an outside system that we're bringing in. And we would always sort of say, hey, look at the Japanese, we can get there. But I think we have to sort of look at ourselves and be having a sense of ownership and pride of what we are doing. And so what we essentially did is stop using the labels like Kaizen and TPS and Six Sigma and 20 keys and all of that, and we just call it the Sil Africa way.
Fantastic.
And the way has a structure. It borrows a lot from Kaizen and 20 keys. And it starts off by first building a foundation around what we call the employee morale and safety. There are 4 specific areas that we focus on, and 5S is one of them. Problem solving is another one. Workplace discipline is another one. And team building is another one. So there are 4 specific things, and until that foundation isn't strong, it's very difficult to have sustainable improvement in the other areas like quality, cost, delivery, and technology, because people are not, you know, their heart is not in it. They're just
Yeah.
doing it as a job.
To tick the. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've taken an approach that I think we can call it our own,
Yeah.
called the South Africa way. And even after I go, the next person coming in is not going to say, "Oh, let's try something different," because taking out the heart of the company, and that I think nobody would want to do.
Fantastic. I think that's very insightful, and this is precisely why we have these spotlight conversations. So the key takeaway is that instead of looking at various if I can use the word fads of the week or fads of the season, you have really sort of paused and looked at all the goodness that comes from various approaches, and you have created a Still Africa way. I think that's very interesting. And any journey gives you benefits, and it also has bumps and challenges and pain points. So before I go to some positive takeaways from the Still Africa way, what has been your challenge in the past, or the challenge you continue facing in promoting as you go through mergers and acquisitions, bringing in new organizations into your family fold? What has been the challenges, sir?
So, if we go back to what you're talking about me earlier, that I'm the ideas guy.
Yeah.
So, if I come up with something, then it's always been, okay, here's another idea. Let's wait for it to fizzle out, and then there'll be another idea, right? So whether it was Kaizen or South Africa Way and everything in between, the first challenge was always that, okay, this is another fad. And eventually Akshay will get tired of it. He'll find something else to attract his attention, and we'll go back to life as normal.
Okay.
And that was really a big challenge, like right from the shop floor operator to the boardroom.
Yeah.
it, it it takes a long time to really see that no company can really be truly world class and therefore create amazing returns for investors and create an amazing workplace for employees and value to customers without being world class. I mean, otherwise we are just irrelevant if you want to operate at that level. But it's a long journey, and we have to sort of stick to it. And I guess convincing that is not something that I was probably very good at. That was one challenge. I think the other challenge was this whole okay, people have accepted and committed that we are going to do this.
Yeah.
So then the culture becomes a checkbox culture, right? Okay, I've done this. I've done the audit. I've done this. We are whatever. We put up a few signs, and we're winning the floor. So it's not about checkbox, right? It's real. You have to live. And so that was the second challenge. And I think the last challenge, and it still is there, is that a lot of people think of TSW, the South Africa way, as 5S. Like 5S, then somehow you're world class. Because 5S, cleans up the surface, right?
Yeah.
What you see in front of you looks good, so then you kind of feel like, okay, everything else must be good. But you could be having terrible Hijunka, but have amazing 5S, and nobody will know.
Absolutely. Very well, very correct, sir. And I keep, in fact, just last afternoon I was delivering a webinar for an Indian oil company, and I was telling them that many things. I was showing them a picture, and I said many things in life looks very good from far, but when you deep dive, when you go to the Gemba, it's far from good. And so, and it's the same thing. Sometimes people think that anything that is shiny is okay. But when you go under the skin, you find a lot of broken processes. The flow is not okay. There's no line balancing. There's excess inventory. All kinds of issues. So yes, challenges are part of life, and it is challenges that we actually, if there's no challenges, there's no you, there's no me, right? I mean, we are the challenges people, right? So what has been the benefit? I'm sure the way your organization has grown, and I feel immensely sort of proud to have known you, because I've seen you emerge as a star and as a real true leader, business leader. uh, so what has been, when you applied the Seal Africa way, what has been the business impact? Can you recollect a few nuggets for us, for
Uh,
customer perspective, from a customer's angle, from a shareholders perspective?
I would say the first benefit has been um, giving the believers within South Africa uh, a real a place to belong, a place of where they get clarity, they get a roadmap, they can own the South Africa way, and they can champion it and
Yeah,
implement it without actually waiting for some guru to come and tell us what to do every day. And
correct.
that has really shown success. I would like to recognize one of my team members, Alpesh Patel, who is our country
Uh-huh.
CEO in South Africa, Tanzania, as having really been a true champion of South Africa Way. And
Okay.
I will tell you that even he was one of those people who was skeptical that this is just another fad of Akshay and eventually it will pass.
Yeah,
But when he actually embraced it and he started to implement it, uh, remember, like any of these operational excellence systems have to be owned at the Gemba level by
yeah,
people at the factory every day and who have
true,
the authority, to tell their team what they need to do.
true.
So Alpesh really set the bar uh, for not only himself but his whole team, and
Yeah,
even our teams in Kenya and Ethiopia are they look to what we are doing in Tanzania from a South Africa way perspective,
yeah,
and now friendly competition within the business that
yeah.
everybody is helping each other to really push the bar up. So I think that whole employee team internal perspective is one of the biggest benefits. Uh, the,
Fantastic.
the second benefit is we, I would say we have an audit culture in the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by audit, I mean the operations audit. Of course, we are
Correct.
obviously the statutory financial audit, but we have an audit culture in the company in the sense that we're always auditing ourselves. And whenever customers come to audit us, there is nothing different going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, it's not like maybe, in the old days that you find out, okay, customer is going to come and audit. And
yeah,
then 5 days before the customer comes, everybody, including the chairman, is cleaning and, doing all that, painting everything.
yeah,
Um, we're not like that at all now.
yeah,
Audit is a way of life.
yeah.
Uh, our South Africa way is built on audit. There are standard check sheets for every gear. And every time we learn something new that doesn't seem to exist within our South Africa way, we will incorporate that by updating and upgrading our audit check sheet. That way, we know
Correct.
that we're always kind of, staying updated with the
Yeah,
expectations of the customer, of ourselves, of the regulator, the environment in which we operate. Um, and so, what that does is, when customers do come to auditors,
yeah,
uh, and if the customer comes and does a random audit or a scheduled audit, there's absolutely no difference.
yeah,
But beyond that, what we're really proud to say is that some of the customers that we used to look to,
yeah.
many years ago, like, look, we should be like this customer when it comes to our, Kaizen and practices. Those
Yeah.
customers are now coming to us and saying, wow, we should send our team to learn from you guys. Yeah. And some
Fantastic.
customers are, global brands. So it's really quite a matter of pride and honor that global FMCG companies are coming to South Africa to learn operational excellence.
Fantastic. I think, and there is no bigger, sort of sense of joy when people copy you, right?
Yes.
In a positive sense. Fantastic. And I'm not surprised, because I've always known you as the ideas man, the man with passion. So let me quickly, two more questions really to talk about. Um, See, I can't, catch and hook a better person than you to ask this question. there is this Kaizen spirit, the spirit of continuous improvement, eliminating waste, muda. You call it the lean way, TPM way, whatever, where it's all about people and processes, eliminating waste, doing daily work management, solving problems on the Gemba every day, right? And on the other side, we have the advent of IoT, robotics, etc., Industry 4.0. So, how do you see the interplay? And this is a question people ask very often, and you're the best person to, ask this question.
So we have actually been on the IoT journey. I think we started about, probably the idea popped into the head about 3 years ago. At that time, it was called MES, Manufacturing Execution System.
Correct.
And ever since then, I was really wanting to have a system where our people in the factory floor are not spending their time recording what's happening, how much production is happening, how much energy are we consuming at that granular level. And then based on that, a lot of other decisions are made, such as maintenance, production planning, and so on. And we all know that collecting information manually is a non-value-added activity. And then it can be full of errors. So then creating, planning decisions around, maintenance and materials and production and committing to customers based on that manual information can have catastrophic, consequences if things go wrong. So Industry 4.0 or IoT is not something, like SpaceX, going to the moon or something, or it's not that fancy. It's actually simply putting some device, some technology into your 25-year-old machine and allowing the machine to directly talk to your it could be your
computer,
sheet, or it could be your ERP system, and just allowing that information to be collected automatically, right? I mean, that's the first level. Like, rather than having an energy meter and a operator sitting there counting things and recording, you're just replacing that. That's the first step.
Correct.
Then the second step is really that you get so much granular information, not about how much you have produced, but what was the cycle time when you're doing that production. A real cycle time, not a recorded cycle time, right?
True.
Then you start comparing that with other things that are happening in the factory, such as what happened with the temperature in the cooling system, what happened with the power fluctuation, what happened with other parameters, because we all know it's connected. But before, we never had the data to find the interconnections between this live system that we call a factory, right?
Correct.
So it's like we're just blindly running a factory, not knowing what the left hand and the right hand are doing from a data perspective. Now, IoT gives us that data using the right type of system, and we use a system called ThinkTracks. So using the right type of system that can collect the data, collate it and compare it and analyze it using AI. All of that, now what we have done is we have empowered our people.
Correct.
Right? They are no longer spending their time collecting and collating and tabulating and I don't know what else, other non-value added stuff they do. Instead, the system is giving them insights, and insight they can use it to actually go and make improvements much faster.
Fantastic.
So the benefit is it's empowering our team to make our company even better, even faster.
Fantastic. So you see, it's very, very clearly it's a tool that is very powerful to capture data as it sort of live, right, as it happens, as it emerges, and also with some AI and running some algorithms, you can give insights to people, and now people are in a better position to go and make improvements or solve problems quicker and better quality problem solving. So you would you agree with me if I say that there is the role of continuous improvement, the role of people, and process improvement, problem solving will continue. It will not be replaced by all these emerging technologies. And but they'll be better empowered to do Kaizen in a better way. Would that be a fair statement to make?
Absolutely. We all know that when we have a problem and we try to do root cause, you go to the gemba with your fishbone or your ishikawa,
Yeah.
and the one thing that doesn't always isn't available at your fingertips is the data, right?
Yeah.
Without actual live data, how good can your root cause analysis be? Now imagine our team at the gemba is empowered with live data, historical data, real data, and they use that as part of their root cause analysis. Yeah. So that problem solving activity and continual improvement has to happen, because IoT cannot, for example, figure out that you bought the wrong grade of hydraulic oil, and that's why your gaskets are leaking. Your data will help you to find that root cause much earlier.
Fantastic. So I was watching some. I'm sure you've seen some phenomenal learning modules from the university, which is I'm not able to recollect the name, but from Canada, from the US, which runs this future of work and things like that. Singularity. Yeah. So I was just reminded of the video I saw on future of work, and it's very interesting. And one particular video which says that the only thing that people will be doing when all the technology comes in, they'll be doing Kaizen. That's almost what he said, because that is one element, the ability to solve problems, the ability to think, create, innovate. Human beings will be given more opportunity and more time to do what they're really built to do, and not, as you said, get engaged in recording something and tabulating something. Very interesting. Last question, sir. I think in today's any conversation, it's impossible to get out without addressing this elephant in the room, the corona, and the impact of all this. The world has been impacted in different ways. Some people say that there has been some positive sort of takeaways, which is a good spirit, and of course a lot of challenges. So I'm sure you have also gone through, you faced some challenges, you also seen some good things coming out. So what is your message? You are a mentor, a lot of people look up to you during these challenging times. What is your message with all your experience, over 25 years of experience? What is the message you would like to give?
Well, I mean, there isn't like one, silver bullet, clear message. But let me talk about some of the things that we did, walking the talk. As soon as we were aware that there is a risk to our employees, in all the countries, we immediately started to improve the safety protocols within the factory. And we were already, because we're a ISO 22000 factory, we have to maintain a very high level of, hygiene and cleanliness. So it wasn't new to us, but we had to up the game a lot more.
Yeah.
We started looking outwards, that what's the community facing? And one of the challenges was around hand washing. Another challenge was around the PPE, protective gown. And we looked into our manufacturing ability to repurpose. So could we repurpose our capacity to make something the community needs? So we went with contactless hand washing. We changed the parameters on our machine that makes stretch wrap to make it a thicker material, and that can now be used for protective gown. So a lot of internal innovation was done very, very quickly in order to provide the community with tools to fight the virus.
Fantastic.
Then the most recent one is where, I said we're a learning organization, and my own personal thing is that I'm a lifelong learner. So the COVID-19 is not going to stop us from learning. Yet we are not able to fly, our experts to different countries, and we're not wanting to put a bunch of our people into a training room.
Yeah.
Because that again is risky.
Yeah.
So what we did is we took our entire TSW curriculum and put it onto a mobile phone through a learning management system, through an app. And every single person who has a phone, even if they're not connected to data, they can download the curriculum while they're at the factory. And while they are sitting in the bus going home, quite a few of our employees are spending an hour to 2 hours every day commuting. They can now use that time to actually learn from their device, go through assessments, and keep leveling up. And
fantastic.
Things would have not happened had it not been for the coronavirus, because these things, whether it is the virus, whether it's a global economic crisis, whether it is a war in your country, whatever it is, we once had problems of pirates of the Somali coast, hijacking the ships, so our raw material wasn't coming in on time. To me, I would say this is probably the message that you are asking me to give is every challenge is an opportunity for innovation. When we are boxed, our ability to innovate ourselves out of that box is what will take us to the next level. And that will make us more resilient as a company. Even when the good times are there, we'll still be winning.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much. And just like that, we budgeted 15. We are at 30 minutes, and that's the that's the beauty of having a conversation with somebody who has so much to share, so many insights and ideas. I am really sorry. I have to come to a stop, and because we need to make sure that our viewers get something which is in a nugget, which is palatable to them. Akshay San, I cannot thank you enough for. I know you're a very busy man, and you've been, very quick to say yes. I can come on to Spotlight. I think this is our Spotlight conversation number. I think 15 or 16. We have had an opportunity to talk to a lot of people. In fact, this is an idea which came out during the pandemic when I was locked out. Probably I would have never done this during our routine, And I said, you know what? There's so many people I need to really talk to, and it's not just me talking to them, but if we can record it, maybe somebody will, benefit from it. So we have gone around and captured so many interesting conversations. Thank you very much, sir, again for your time, and I wish you all the best for the wonderful work that you're doing, and I hope to see you in person very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayant, and keep improving.
Thank you.
Bye.